Chapter 6. Intimidated. The warming king tide came on, filling the firth, washing over his battered, bloody feet and bleeding ankles, stinging, yet fortifying him with the thought of escape. In minutes it had climbed up, lapping at his naked body like a calm killer. As the seconds passed, he looked out to the quiet ocean to see if the crewman was there, but no sign of him. He slumped on his bonds, his mind in turmoil. Where were they? Were they coming? The seawater lapped at his wounds on his back. He felt as though Nereus had sent it to heal him, but he knew better. He thought of his family living so far away. They could never make such a long journey, and he wouldn't want them to see him die like this. He knew she would cry, but most of all she would be furious by the way he'd been accused of treason. Never would he do that. Someone is telling an untruth. She would stand, hands on her shapely hips, probably standing on the cliffs, her long hair trailing, screaming with anger into the wind, knowing Karma would be listening. The captain stood up as tall as he could, his toes sinking into the soaked seawater sand. "You may see me die, but not in defeat," he shouted. His angered voice echoed across the king tide and the filling firth. He began to take deep breaths. 12, 13. Then the warm, almost hot, salty water was clambering for his throat. He lifted his head up for one more deep breath of air. Then suddenly he was under the salty water. It clambered at his closed mouth as he looked around in the clear water, holding his breath, his lungs calling for fresh air, his heart racing, pounding like a maul on a tanner's awl. He knew it would be over in a devastating... A hand appeared in front of him, and then the masked face of the crewman. He felt him push an air regulator into his mouth. He let his lungs expel, and he took a massive breath of compressed air. The young crewman put the goggles over his head and fixed them over his eyes. He cut his bonds, and the captain lifted the goggles, clearing the water with air. Now he could see clearly. The crewman unfolded the air pack, and the captain slowly put it on, blood still oozing from his wounds. The crewman pulled him along into deeper water and then dove down deeper onto the sand bottom. There sat a two-man sub-scamper. The long hatch sat open and they climbed aboard. He turned the key and the hatch closed. With the solar motor running, the pump kicked in and the seawater left the hatch. "You okay, Cap?" said the crewman over his shoulder. "Almost, young Tian." He grimaced as he spoke. His wounds and the beatings had taken their toll. "I'll be okay, soon as I get home," he said, thinking of her. On the shore, the officer and his unruly soldiers heard his shouting voice, then cheered to see him disappear under the fast tide. In seconds, the stake was under the sea. He stood in front of the men, a smile adorning his bearded, pudgy face, his unknown medals tinkling, his sword jangling by his side. He turned to attention, then said, "Attention! The men shuffled and then stood as straight as they could. A left turn, and by the left, quick march. Left, 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 right, he shouted, marching his men away. The soldiers marched away, singing a ditty, all out of step. Here come the Defigny for his evening meal. None'll hear the captain with his bubbly squeal. He's drowned in the sea today, ne'er us come took his soul away, away, away. Each of them thinking, secretly hoping, the denizens of the deep would come to feast. The markets had been devoid of fish for many suns. Their voices echoed in the deserted streets and alleyways. Citizens knew not to come out when he was dispensing punishment.